Hi everyone, it's me, and today let's learn about the Game of Thrones together.
Winter is coming. Winter is coming. And if it's moving at 2 miles per hour in a generally southward direction and the Seven Kingdoms are about 3,500 miles long, then it'll take about 1,750 hours to get here. Dang! That's a lot of episodes.
Wow.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hi.
The show that promises to get its own HBO subscription any day now. Any day now. I mean, it would be kind of nice to watch new episodes of Game of Thrones in their full HD quality and not in that 360p of other, less savory websites. But when new episodes are leaking every other day, HBO, what do you expect me to do? Wait a full week? I gotta binge! Okay, so this is the part where I usually do a little segue catching you up on where the show is, but whether or not you like it, you are caught up with Game of Thrones because Twitter is dark and full of spoilers. But even if you've been avoiding Twitter because it's filled with more angry mobs than King's Landing, being caught up with the show doesn't mean a whole lot these days. In a show where winter took 6 seasons to come, season 7 has us ricocheting between events at a breakneck pace. We're gonna attack this castle. Smash cut. It's done. I'm going to cure you. Bam! You're healed. Send a raven to the north. Oh, wait, never mind. Here's Jon Snow. And yet there's still a lot that has to happen before the end of the series. Jon and Dany have to fall in love even though they're totally cousins. Jon stops calling.
It's not necessarily cousins, right? I remember correctly, it's more towards aunt and... Okay, I'm crossing the line there. I am crossing the line there.
Calling them the White Walkers and the Night King because it's the worst branding ever, and finally calls them what'll finally get everyone's attention: ice frickin' zombies. Then people finally believe
The Walking Dead ice version.
but by then it's too late. George R.R. Martin gives everyone a big middle finger just when a happy ending was on the horizon by killing everyone off with ice zombies and leaving us with the final message of, we didn't listen. We didn't listen! Then in the final epilogue, the Lord of Light swoops in to revive Ned Stark, or someone who doesn't look like him.
It doesn't look like him.
But that raises the question, how will they fit all that stuff in? In reality, Game of Thrones as a TV show has a big problem, which is how the heck they're gonna get everything to happen in the few episodes that they have left. I mean, for crying out loud, it takes half the show to say Daenerys' full title.
Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen, first of her name, the Unburnt Queen of the Andals, and First Maid Khaleesi of the Great Grassy, Breaker of Chains, and Mother of Dragons.
So how
Oh, okay, so we normally remember the first one and last one, so it's Mother of Dragons. Yeah.
long is it gonna take to conquer all of Westeros and add even more titles for the stuff that she conquers? Well, raise a toast to House Spoiler and prepare to spend the night in the Citadel, because we're going in depth to uncover Westeros' best kept secret, that Game of Thrones literally cannot finish in the time that they have left, and that they're cheating their own canon universe to make it all happen. Not that the show needs any more exposing than it already has. I mean, geez, leave something to my imagination, Georgie. So what am I talking?
Yeah. Let's continue.
Talking about here? Well, like I said, Season 7 is rushing through events fast enough to give you whiplash, and in the process, they're breaking its own universe to speed up the pace of the show. At the beginning of Season 7, we find Cersei in humongous debt to the Iron Bank, while more and more of her allies leave her for the younger, hotter, and slightly less incestuous gal Daenerys. With Casterly Rock, the Lannisters' historical source of income, completely mined out, Cersei's back is up against the wall. So when she has to pay her debts, as Lannisters tend to do, she orders her army to leave Casterly Rock to take Highgarden, and asks the representative of the Iron Bank,
Give me a fortnight. Stay in King's Landing as my honored guest.
Fortnite!
And when you return to Bravos, I swear to you, my debt will be paid in full.
So for one of the first times in the show, we're given a ticking clock with a very specific time frame for when something needs to happen. Now, usually the show keeps things nice and vague so they avoid problems like this, and mostly we just kind of shrug and stop thinking about it the next time we see some Khal Drogo packs pop into frame or Daenerys set herself on fire. This time though, we got you, Georgie. According to Cersei, in just a fortnight, which in case you're not up on your English time measurements,
It's not the game, it's Fortnite, 14 days, so 14 days.
14 days, the Lannister army has to hoof it from Casterly Rock to Highgarden, then back to King's Landing. You might have some quibbles about that sentence. Don't worry, I'll address them. But the first question is, how far Casterly Rock is from Highgarden? It's never directly stated in the show or the books exactly how far away these places are from one another, but there are official maps. So I gave myself some theorist cartography lessons and went to work. The first thing I needed to get was a base measurement, and for that I went to the Wall, which is basically the only landmark that has a specific measurement associated with it. George R.R. Martin specifically set the size of the Wall at 300 miles or 482 kilometers in a 2008 interview, and Jon Snow reiterates it in chapter 48 of Game of Thrones, the book. It's even cited in the Game of Thrones Telltale game.
A 300-mile wall, and you're still in my way.
In the show, Samwell Tarly at one point claims that the wall is 500 miles across.
We didn't build 500 miles of ice wall 700 feet high to keep out men.
But we'll be nice and say that it was just the cold talking, since no one ever corroborates that, and frankly it would make this show's case even worse. It's also before he goes to Maester School, so what's he really know? Well, certainly more than Jon Snow.
Oh! Ouch! Snap! That roasts! Burn!
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Using 300 miles as a baseline, we can measure out raven routes, sailing routes, and of course, marching routes. Casterly Rock and Highgarden are connected by a winding road known as the Sea Road. If you're thinking, well, they could have marched straight ahead instead, remember that an army comes with all kinds of equipment and provisions, and moving along a road is going to be significantly faster than marching through woods. The road is about 660 miles, or 1,062 kilometers long. So we now know that the Lannister troops are going to have to march 660 miles in just 2 weeks, which puts them at a breakneck pace of 47 miles a day, or almost twice the length of a marathon for 14 days in a row. I'll save you the speculating. During the medieval era, which is a fairly close approximation to the world of Game of Thrones, this would have been impossible. Medieval troop movements were mostly limited by the logistics of feeding an entire army as it moved, which meant that in hostile territory it was hard for a medieval army to move more than 10 miles a day because the head of the army had to forage the whole area around the road. But we'll say for the sake of argument that the Casterly Rock army is well provisioned, and since they're moving in friendly territory, that they can move at maximum speed.
You are only as strong as your army, and your army needs to eat.
The maximum speed for an unmounted army tended to be around 20 miles or 32 kilometers a day. Well, that number does go up to 30 miles a day for a mounted contingent. We know from the end of the episode, The Spoils of War, that the majority of Lannister troops were indeed on foot. In the most extreme of circumstances that I can find for this period, in Roman times, troops were expected to be able to move 24 miles in about 5 hours, though this was considered full pace, was sparingly used, and we never actually see the Lannister army running, except away from Dany's sweet dragon. Oh, sick burn!
Oh, glitter bun! Wow! Oh, litter roast!
Literally,
Fire?
it's like third degree. Anyway, even at this impossibly grueling pace for 10 hours a day, they would just barely make it to Highgarden before Cersei's deadline. And that's not even taking into account the journey back with the gold. But don't worry, Internet, I've predicted your rebuttals in advance. Maybe Cersei was planning ahead, and she had secretly sent orders to her troops to attack Highgarden 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Except, she didn't. The morning that the Iron Bank comes a-knockin', Cersei's bedchamber was a-rockin' with some sweet, sweet brother lovin'.
Oh!
I can't even say it sarcastically, it's just gross.
Yep. Do remember that in this series is similar to in real life when inbreeding incest happens.
I am the queen of the Seven Kingdoms. I'll do as I please.
Yeah, Cersei, enjoy it while it lasts. But by betting old Jaime, she's keeping him from getting to Highgarden, and we clearly see him arriving with the troops. Don't you hate it when physics and geography get in the way of you dating your sibling? Yeah, me neither. The distance from King's Landing to Highgarden along the Rose Road is about 840 miles, or about 1,350 kilometers, which means that to make it from King's Landing to Highgarden before the attack, Jaime is gonna need to leave the Red Keep as soon as he gets out of bed that morning and start one of the most intense journeys of his life. Jaime is gonna have to ride a hard 60 miles per day. Well, this wouldn't be impossible for someone on a racehorse to do for a day or two. For 14 days straight, this
With his equipment, with all this heavy armor.
would definitely kill the horse and almost definitely kill Jaime. Meaning that Jaime would have killed 14 horses between King's Landing and Highgarden, and he would have arrived in a coma, and he'd still be a few hours late. And okay, Jaime, I know you're a dedicated knight and all that, but are you break the laws of physics dedicated? Because even if you make it there, take over Highgarden that same day without dying alongside Elena, you've only just captured the place. You still have to get O'Raven back to King's Landing on that same day. O'Raven that would have to be flying over 800 miles per hour to make it back the same day in order to meet Cersei's insane 14-day deadline. And that certainly means that no gold is making it back to the Iron Bank in that amount of time. So sorry, George R.R., Jaime literally being in all parts of the map all the time in Season 7 has busted you on this one. Even if Cersei had asked the Iron Bank representative to stay there a month, everything would have had to have moved like clockwork, and they would still have barely made it on time. Alright, so the situation is looking pretty bleak, but here's the thing, guys. I love Game of Thrones. I don't want to show that Daenerys is genetically impossible because of inbreeding, even though you should totally check out that episode.
Okay, yep. Due to inbreeding, that kind of things does happen, so...
Shameless plug! I want to find a way to make this work, and it turns out I have. Believe it or not, there actually is a way to make all of this impossibly fast movement happen in the show, to make it possible to fit everything that needs to happen into the final 10 episodes, and no, it's not to somehow make Westeros smaller, but you're kinda close. It's to make everything in Westeros bigger. What do I mean by that? I mean that the way to make all of this time-hopping fast travel work is to actually make every person, tree, and direwolf in Westeros twice as large as we think they are.
Okay.
I know it sounds far-fetched, but stick with me here. If everyone is twice as large, then movement speeds are twice as fast. And while time frames like that fortnight are still really tight, it goes from so far outside the realm of possibility that even Marvel writers are skeptical to unlikely but possible. And believe it or not, there is actual evidence in the show that points to this maybe being true. For a few episodes of the series, but most notably the pilot, exterior shots of Winterfell used Dun Castle. While most of Game of Thrones remains purposely vague with its measurements, Winterfell specifically is given some measurements that suggest some pretty wacky proportions. Its outer walls, for example, are supposed to be 80 feet tall. The walls at Dun Castle are 39 feet tall. Just half of what Winterfell is supposed to have. If you see people who look like normal people standing in front of a 39-foot wall, but then you're told that that wall is actually 80 feet, you'll suddenly realize that either the wall is half the height and you were lied to, or that the people you're looking at are actually twice as tall as you thought they were. Since we don't have any normal Earth-sized humans as a reference point, our brains just assume that their dimensions are similar to our own.
Not gonna lie, this theory is a bit stretching it. Maybe, but...
In a highly hostile world with ice giants, dragons the size of jetliners, and a literal army of the dead, it's really not that far-fetched that humans might not be the dimensions that we think they are. If everything scales up in Westeros except for the measurements that were explicitly given, then it becomes clear how everything in this world is working. Westeros feels so small not because it's a small continent, but because everything in that continent is so big. It's like Rick and Morty's Tiny Planet. It explains troop movements, which could theoretically move at 40 miles a day under normal circumstances and could move at full pace at 48 miles every 5 hours. Jaime traveling 60 miles a day is now a much more leisurely ride, and he could even
which is possible.
Pick up the pace a little without seriously straining himself or his horse. The Ravens could even move significantly faster, delivering the orders to the troops faster and delivering the message of success faster.
So you'll be like on time, on schedule.
So no matter who you are, even if you're Shaquille O'Neal, and yes, Shaq, I know you're watching, waiting desperately for the day that I do that Shazam theory, you are quite a bit shorter than Tyrion Lannister, the dwarf. Peter Dinklage, at 4 foot 5 inches, would be inflated to 8 foot 10 inches, a full foot and 1 inch taller than the tallest NBA player, and just 1 inch shy of the tallest man in history. Ha! And you thought that the mountain was just a nickname. Little did you know it's because he's literally the size of a mountain. So the next time you watch an episode, know that to literally make this world function, we're looking at a very different set of proportions than we've thought this whole time. But hey, that's just a theory. theory. A film theory. And winter is coming, and you know what else is? More reality-breaking theories. Slash the throat of that subscribe button faster than a Stark at the Red Wedding and help film theorists finally reach 5 million subscribers strong. We are so close, and we are coming for you, Honest Trailers. You and your sexy, epic movie voice. And if you want more Game of Thrones, well then check out how Jorah's gonna save Westeros before the end of the series. Yeah, Sir Friendzone himself. Squeeze the button on your left so hard it's like Oberon's eye sockets. And I'll see you next week for even more death. Get ready.
Get ready! Wow, using the Red Wedding as a reference point. What the? Okay, wow. Thank you so much for watching this video. This video has been very weird. But still, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support for me and for my channel. Thank you so much. It's really motivating and uplifting for everyone to be so supportive and encouraging. Very positive words and comments. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory. Thanks for watching, and cut. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye! Subscribe. Thank you.